Welcome back. All right, summer is here. You know, it's been so hot, so many folks getting outside. People are spending more and more time outside exercising, maybe playing, moving around a lot. And we're just now coming off Men's Mental Health Month. It's good to get out there mentally and get in that exercise as well. We're going to look at how men can stay fit and injury-free well into their 40s and beyond. All right, and joining us now to help me and all of you that may be in your 40s or 50s moving forward, this is Dr. Courtney Conklin from Riverside Health. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
I am turning myself over to you as an over 40 athlete out here. What types of things, I guess I could say, you know, I've definitely felt some changes after 40, but what are the typical things that guys my age start to feel?
Yes, after age 40, we start to notice we're losing muscle. So in that fourth decade of life, we're gonna be losing about 3 to 8% of muscle mass every 10 years. And once we get to 50, it's every year we're losing muscle mass. So our routines have to change. We have to start incorporating more strength training into your routine.
Okay, so I'm doing that. My question, again, and this isn't all about Craig here, but like, you know, really important. I got to believe like diet, getting enough protein, all that stuff, because it seems like the harder, you know, I can try to lift and everything, it's still hard to maintain the physique and just athleticism.
Definitely. Most people are not eating enough protein. So I recommend about 1 to 1.5 kilograms per your body weight of protein. The meal where we're most lacking is breakfast. Okay. Most people are eating a carbohydrate-rich breakfast. So always look at that breakfast that you're eating and see where can we incorporate more protein, because you're right, we need protein to build muscle and build up that strength. I've
got some real good questions to ask you as far as movement and ways to maybe prevent injury or what types of injuries occur. But before we do that, tell me sleep is also important.
Sleep is so important. Sleep is the most underrated portion of this puzzle. Sleep is when our body recovers. If we're not sleeping, we're not giving our body time to recover from any injuries we may have. And it's also going to increase our stress levels, which also is going to put you at risk for injuries.
So all these things work against you. You got to eat right and you got to get sleep. And I'm telling myself this, I got to make some changes and get more of that sleep. All right, so for the weekend warriors, you know, I told you before we came out here, play a lot of pickleball. You might have heard that. A lot of folks get out there and maybe go really hard on the weekends. This can lead to some problems, though, sometimes if you're not properly conditioning. What do you recommend?
Always stretch. So before you're getting out and playing pickleball, I want you to be doing dynamic stretching. So those are all of our movements. So you're going to be doing some leg swings, some walking lunges.
Okay, so you said dynamic versus like static stretching. So static would be like maybe going down into the splits and just holding it. You're saying that's not as effective as the dynamic.
Correct. We want to hold the static stretching for after you're playing pickleball. So after you're done playing, get down, stretch out those hamstrings, stretch out those quads. But beforehand, make sure you're doing all that movement to warm up.
That would be, I guess, if there's one thing you would really stress more than anything else for folks that are going out, take that time to do that.
Correct.
And then afterwards, that's the static. And how important is that? Because honestly, you know, you go out there and as a guy that plays, again, with a bunch of other guys kind of in this age group, we go out there, we want to play, maybe we lightly warm up, and then you're going full bore, and then when you're done, it's like, okay, we're done.
Yes. Yes.
That's going to set us back?
Correct. And it's going to put you at risk for injuries. Too often than not, I see pickleball players coming in saying they didn't warm up. Now, all of a sudden, we're dealing with an Achilles tendon injury, which could have been prevented if we had just done a simple warm up beforehand.
Talk to me about recovery. Like, you know, when folks are out there, you know, I told you I had like a little knee issue where I kind of tweaked it a little bit. It's actually a weird thing, but I noticed like my recovery has taken so much longer. I used to, you know, get hurt and be, oh, no problem, you know, a couple days later. Now it's taken longer.
Yes. After we turn 40, recovery starts to take a much longer period of time, and that's because our human body is changing. We're not getting good blood flow to certain muscles and tendons, so we're not recovering as fast as we once were. If we're not getting sleep, we're not going to recover either. So as we get older, recovery, stretching, protein, sleep, all this forms together into a huge, important puzzle of getting better and staying active.
As a practicing professional, what types of injuries are you seeing more and more of? I know it's like we say, oh, okay, 50 is a new, or, you know, whatever, 30 or 40, you know, all those things. People are more active later in life. What types of injuries do you think folks that are getting a little more advanced should really be wary of?
We should be looking out for meniscus tears, as you have mentioned before. So meniscus tears become very common as we get older because they often coincide with arthritis in the knee joint. So looking for that meniscus tear. Achilles tendon injuries are very common because we have people go out thinking that they're in their 20s and doing what they used to do, do, and all of a sudden we're dealing with that injury. And then rotator cuff tears in the shoulder as well.
Those overheads.
Yes, throwing the ball, getting out and throwing with your son or your daughter. Yes, make sure you're warming up first.
All right, so final bit of advice. You've given us great information on sleep, protein, stretching, all those things. Anything you would say to our general public, you know, just kind of wrapping it all up? Stay active, but be careful.
Get out and move. That's the biggest thing I can say. If I could give you one piece of advice, move every day. Whether that's walking, doing yard work, cleaning your house, any form of movement. I just want you moving every single day.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, it's great to talk to you. All right, so she's given me a laundry list. There's a lot I need to change, and hopefully this has helped you as well. Ashley, we'll send it back over to you.